Easy 104.0. It's the Steve McGrew. What do you call your podcast?
It's Remasculated.
It's Remasculated with Steve McGrew, featuring JB Jr. and your host, Dave Mencarelli.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I'm hijacking it.
Oh, you're hijacking the show?
It, yeah.
Oh, so you're going to host the show this time.
I feel like people listen to your Remasculated with Steve McGrew. And they hear you talk to and highlight and feature other comics.
Right.
And I feel like people want to know the Steve McGrew story.
Wow, but how are we going to work you guys in, your story in?
Nobody cares about my story.
Our stories aren't that great.
JB has a good story.
JB has a good story?
If you're looking at the photo attached to this podcast and you see that thing on his face, I mean, that's a story in and of itself.
Yeah, that's true.
I've been accused of being a water buffalo before. But it's a cool picture.
JB's, you'll see it if you look at the picture on the podcast, has one of the largest handlebar mustaches ever. Would you say ever?
I would say ever.
Ever.
I mean,
because you walk down the street
with
any
research, but yes.
And like, can I take my picture with your face? I want to take my picture with your face.
It takes you 20 minutes to get 2 blocks in Las Vegas with this guy.
Right.
Okay, so this happened my flat told me yesterday, hey, I'm over here. So I punch it up on the Google to see where I'm going and everything. And it says walking, it's going to take me like 10 minutes. And I go, well, it's going to be like 20 by the time I get there for all the pictures on the way.
20 with pictures, yes. Because we were here once I bought a motorcycle and JB and I came down here to pick it up because I am way too much. Can I curse on your podcast?
Yeah.
I'm way too much of a pussy to ride my motorcycle 7 hours. So JB and I came down and put it in the back of his pickup truck. And we walked down here, I don't know, and we got stopped every 2 feet for a picture. Yeah. And I thought we should just take, he used to wear a big cowboy hat. And I thought we'd just take that hat off. We write a little sign that says pictures $5 and we could retire down here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, people would pay. Well, people would easily pay.
Here's what I had my idea today for him.
This was great. I heard this.
Did he tell you that? That he needs a shirt printed up. Perfect. He wears it no matter where he goes.
Perfect.
That says, Johnny Reno, my Instagram name, my website, and wear it constantly because every time somebody takes a picture, it's free promo.
When we're in Reno and we're standing outside the Laugh Factory in Reno at the podium there, it's almost impossible on a Friday or Saturday night to have a conversation with you.
Yeah. Somebody's always coming up.
Do you mind? Some people are nice. Some people not so nice. Some people just come up. It's a lot of drunk women that like to roll up and not even ask. Just get on you and take a picture. So.
Well,
what's the question you get asked most often about that mustache?
If it's real.
Can you? Is that?
I glue this bitch on
are there
every
people
morning
doing that, walking around?
I have been accused of extensions. There's ladies that no, those are extensions. I'm like, seriously. I'm like, no dude is going to do extensions. Might do extensions in his head, but not on his face.
You got a weave on your lip.
Exactly, yeah.
You have a weave on your lip, and you know it, young man.
That's funny.
Who puts on a fake mustache? Anyhow,
right.
So I'm always reluctant to do podcast as the host of the show that you and I are working at the Laugh Factory,
right?
The Tropicana this week here in Las Vegas, the best club in Las Vegas, and I'm always reluctant as like the host or the feature to like be on somebody's podcast because nobody cares, nobody knows me, but people know you. You have a long career.
True, but
you are
I have a long and sordid career.
Sure, yeah. I would say there are several adjectives apply to the career of Steve Mudflat McGrew. Illustrious,
but see the one good
sordid, like you said, yes.
One good thing about my podcast that I've done for other people, like I had JB on a year or two ago, and people like to just meet random people sometimes,
and
really real people. One time, this was years ago, I tried to submit an idea for a show when Nashville Network was still around. And it was just a show where I would just interview random people. I mean, there'd be one guest celebrity. You always have to have a guest celebrity. But if I did have somebody on, like, say, Hank Jr., and you say, I heard you like to fish. So it would just be like a kiddie pool with some trout in it. and you would just sit there with a fishing with a fishing pole. And you'd do the interview, and if you caught something, you did. And
That's funny.
that kind of. But I wanted to have as my guest. I said, like, I'd like to have like the oldest elevator operator in Nashville.
Yeah, think of the stories, right?
The stories,
yeah.
I mean, just random people. Hey, I've been a meat packer down at the Piggly Wiggly for 45 years. Come on the show.
And
People want to know what is a meat packer? How do you cut a T-bone? What's in it?
And they're waiting to tell their stories too. Nobody's ever asked them. It's
Yeah.
like okay, yeah. Let's. sit
I think
talk.
everybody's probably got an interesting story. Everybody's got a book in them. If you wrote the book of your life story, I think nobody's lived a boring life.
Okay, let me ask you about a book. Now that
Okay,
you brought
sure,
that
all
up,
right.
it's funny you brought that up because several times over the past, probably 4 years, I have attempted to start a book.
Oh, I mean,
Because I'll write a chapter about something, or I'll think, well, that's not the best way to start it. I'll just save this, and I've got 4 or 5 different stories that I've done. But how would you?
what's your process? Are you writing? Are you typing it into a computer?
On a computer, yeah. Either that, or when I'm bored on a plane, I'll type it on my
into
phone.
your phone?
I wrote a whole chapter on my phone.
For you,
Yeah.
who is a stand-up comedian, radio DJ, all that stuff, a talker, I always think if I'm going to do it, I'm going to download a simple software program that converts speech to text, and I'm just going to start talking and let it convert to text, and then I would go back through at the end and edit the text into a readable book.
Yeah.
Because if you just started talking and telling
the stories and
of-
letting somebody.
I mean, you easily got a book in you
Yeah,
with
but
your history.
how do you start a book? You always hear that.
what do you-
I was
it was
born a poor black child.
You're right. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. I mean,
It was a
what-
dark
Well,
and stormy night.
I don't know. How are you wanting your book to come out? What are your books? I mean, because to me, here's how I look, and this is a lot of over the weekend because Carl LeBeau's here,
Yeah.
and you guys have known each other since day one in your comedy,
our comedy career,
That's
day one, yeah.
That's fascinating to me. I think that's so cool, and you guys are still like the best of friends, and it's so cool watching you guys interact and just. But when we were in the green room the other night, we all started talking about all the old stories and everything. That's what I like. I like hearing these things because you guys know, like you're good friends with Sam Kinison,
Right.
and those are the stories I think a lot of people like to know because it's not around. I mean,
For sure.
because I mean, you got to hang with him in the day and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's like we all just have to watch him on TV, and we didn't,
But
I like that kind of stuff, and
I was there at a couple of the iconic moments of Sam's career.
And
the
that- and
iconic.
that's
And
what
before you were there before Sam was iconic.
Right.
I mean, but I think your story and most people's story, I imagine your story doesn't start with the first time you flipped the switch on a microphone in a radio station or the first time you plugged in your guitar and played with your band or the first time you walked on a stage. I'm always interested in, for comics especially, what the hell made you think, oh, this is something I want to do or I can do, So whatever your upbringing was that led you to why would you think you could step on stage, just you and a microphone, and stand in front of a room full of strangers and go, what I think is funny, I think you'll think is funny.
Because I'm messed up in the head.
Because we're all messed up in the head.
Now that you say that, I really don't know. I remember as a kid, my mom says I was destined to do this. It was what my mom said because I was always in trouble in school. Like if I got up to sharpen my pencil, I made the class laugh.
Sure,
I made the class laugh.
Or I
made a comment or a funny walk up to the thing, or I've got a dance down when I'm sure kids don't understand. We're talking about it all.
Kids used to have to sharpen your pencil. You used to have to write on paper with graphite. But you had to
go over to the pencil sharpener on the wall.
Yeah.
That's when, if you were a chewer though, you'd be sharpening your pencil and then you'd spit in the trash.
Yeah, of course. That's when you take your dip out.
Yeah. And I used to love to take the cartridge, that little case off the sharpener, and just
sniff it. Yeah.
Did you ever do that?
Pencil shavings, of course.
The pencil shavings was almost like a firewood. It was because it was kind of burned by
If they invented like a air freshener candle pencil shavings, that thing would sell.
That would be.
That's my idea. Copyright Dave Mencarelli.
Put the date on it right now. Timestamp. I've done that on here several times. Like my wife would go, "Why would you put that out there? Now somebody's going to steal your." I go, "Not at 5:52 on a."
But I mean, certainly with you, especially interesting, the going on 40 years
Yeah.
career that you've had. not just that, and all the people that you've encountered that are big name, famous names that you encountered, but when was the first time that you thought, I'm going to try stand-up comedy? When do you remember how that came about? What was did you do the radio DJ thing first?
No.
Okay.
I was the cartoonist for the Houston newspaper.
Okay.
And I was doing that job, and I was friends with Bill Hines.
Okay.
Bill, listen to this. Bill is he's the cartoonist that did Tank McNamara.
Oh, sure, yeah.
The sports cartoon.
Wow.
And Bill was the cartoonist for the newspaper. Well, when I was
kids, that's a thing that folks used to read that was printed on
a newspaper. And I got to be friends with Bill, and I would go down to the paper and watch him work. I was kind of like ghosting. And then
how old? Teenager?
I was high school teenager. And then Bill allowed me to kind of work with him on a couple of things. Like I went over to his apartment and saw how he would draw, like, the tank strip, and got to ink a few of the.
Wow.
So I was learning the process. Well, Bill got so good at cartooning, he left the paper.
Bigger.
So he was doing I think Tank McNamara, and he was also doing another one. What's that? He was illustrating not the Wax Museum, but what's the other the believe it or not, Ripley's Believe.
I was just
Ripley's Believe It or Not. For a while,
cool.
he was doing that. So he left the paper, and I kind of got the recommendation. He would be a good replacement for me because he already knows he's been hanging around. This kid knows what he's doing, and so that was the cartooning part.
And so it was an original cartoon of yours, and you were writing.
No, I was the staff
okay.
artist.
Okay.
Where they come to you and they go, "We need a cartoon
that does this,
an illustration to go with this article."
Gotcha.
Oh, that's okay.
And so Bill was hanging out with a girl that was hanging around the comedy club. That got me hanging around the comedy club. I started going through a divorce, and I thought, I need the laughs. But then I thought, you mean I could get on stage and make fun of her? This is like...
It's a dream come true.
Yeah.
Wait, I could get paid to make fun of my ex-wife?
So it became like my therapy. And it was like, I didn't want to do it full time. This is fun. And I knew humor all my life.
And this is late 70s?
Yeah, 70, 79. And...
So things were about to change in the world of stand-up comedy. You came at the end of the guys in suits and being very nightclub act-ish, right?
Right.
When Carlin was still, Carlin was just moving into his thing, but you came at the end of the Jack Benny was earlier, but Woody Allen. These guys standing in suits in nightclubs. Rodney Dangerfield, and
Pryor sort of had his bust
the
from
beginning of that wave when things were just about to change,
and the clubs were just kicking in. The club scene
things
was
were taking
just
off.
Kicking
Comedy
in.
clubs were becoming, because comics had. Unless you were a big name, like your career as a comedian, I think before that was opening for bands, right?
A lot.
That was your thing.
Yeah. I opened for Chicago and those kind of things back then.
Yeah.
And but then when the club scene started popping, I'd only been doing stand up probably eight months or more, and they'd be like, "We're opening a club in Lubbock. Can you headline the show for us?" Well, I'm not really a headliner, but I can close the show.
There you go.
I can be the last guy on the bill.
I can go last. Yeah.
And so we were lucky enough to be forced into those positions
because there was more work than there was comics.
Yes,
right. Yeah.
At that time, and so we're like, man, you're scrambling for material, and you got pretty good at go.
Wow, that's cool.
So driving here today, I saw a sign.
Yeah.
Right. That kind of
hill blocks view.
Yeah.
So you caught that wave in the late 70s in Houston. You were in Houston when you started. What was the big club in Houston?
It was the Comedy Workshop.
Comedy Workshop.
And that's where everybody started. I mean, if you see any documentary on Hicks or any of that kind of stuff, it's Comedy Workshop.
So Bill Hicks was in Houston. So tell me the guys that were starting at the same time as you, were brand new.
The main guys, and I don't want to. If I leave somebody out, I apologize because I can't remember everybody. But it was Kennison, Hicks, Carl LeBove, Mike Vance, Jimmy Pineapple, Riley Barber.
Wow, I've heard that name. In a while.
There's Danny Brown, Danny Martinez. there was several of us. I mean, there's more that kind of grew
Sure.
right up, but there was more around there. Ralphie May was he wasn't one of us. He didn't start, but Ralphie started at the comedy.
Came from that
same scene after I had moved away. But
so for me, stand-up comedy led to the radio jobs for me.
Yeah.
Gave me the confidence.
Me too.
And so was that, how long were you hanging around Houston doing shows in Texas and just working?
79 to 84.
Okay. So that's a pretty good training, 5 years of just kind of, and then what changed? In 84 you said?
In 84, I really wanted to move to Colorado.
Okay.
I wanted to go all my life. And I was a major John Denver fan.
That's all right.
I said that out loud.
We play that frequently on Easy 104.1.
He was born in the summer of his 27th year. Coming home. Okay, I'm 27 years old, and I decided to move to Colorado because of John Denver.
So he was your god.
Yeah.
You just said 27.
Yeah.
Make the move.
I'm going.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. I was 27, and I thought, I've always wanted to live in Colorado, and they had a club there, the Comedy Works.
Comedy Works, which is
Comedy
still
Works
there.
had opened,
Sure.
yeah. And I'm like, there's a club there, and I've always wanted to live there.
Now, were you in 84, were you making your living exclusively from stand-up?
Yes, at that point, I was.
By then?
But
Give us an idea of pay. What was pay back then? I mean, like for your level, for what you were at
a
that
headline
time.
for
Let's
a
say
week,
you go headline in Lubbock or in
$750.
for
Wow.
how many shows?
Depends on the might be those days. It might be Tuesday through Sunday.
Sure,
those
sure.
longer.
Yeah.
They were longer weeks.
Yeah.
That's
And
money
so-
though back then.
Yeah,
That was all right, right?
Yeah.
That was money.
Yeah, that was money.
25-year-old, 27-year-old kid. Hey,
my rent's $370
for the month, right?
You know what I mean?
Paying my
You're
rent
like-
twice in 1 week,
Right.
And I'm working for 45 minutes a night, right? So yeah.
That's cool.
So then when I moved to Denver, I wasn't in that scene. You know, hey, you
Sure.
moved to a new town,
Yeah,
you're
sure.
not in it.
Yeah.
And so,
And this was now the thing too. This is 80 in the 80s. Now, like you could move to a scene and you can sort of, you've got an electronic resume.
yes,
You go to a scene and people can instantly on your phone go,
Yes.
oh, let me look at what Steve McGrew's all about, or what's Dave
Yeah.
Mencarelli. Oh, you worked at Laugh Factory. Then nobody knew who the hell. Everything was very regionalized,
Yeah.
right?
And
Outside
you were
of
sending
LA
out
and New York.
Xerox. You were Xerox in your.
Yeah, right.
So basically, what Dave's saying is that's kind of like the old West. You know, you're a bad guy in this town. You go to this town, you
A
become
whole
sheriff.
new guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nobody.
You're the sheriff until they
your
find out.
reputation didn't follow you the way it does now on the internet.
Well,
so you show up in
Denver. I signed up for New Talent Night.
Okay.
Just signed up and did my 5 minutes and killed. And they were like, "You've done this before."
Yeah.
You?
Right.
I go, I have.
Yeah.
I'm from Houston. I had and I didn't put the pressure on myself to go in and go, I'm a headliner from Texas and I just moved here and I deserve work.
That's right.
How many times have you seen that from these guys now? Like they'll come to, they think they're the new guy in town, and I should be booked on
Here's where I've
every
been up,
show.
and here's what I've done. Yeah. Well,
And I just thought-
go up there and show me.
Yeah, I thought I'd sneak my way in. I just kind of
Much better way to go in, right? Don't go in blowing your own horn. Go up there for 5 minutes, and they'll see.
Yeah, and then they'll talk to you. You know, hey, that was pretty good. You're like, thank you. Instead of, hey, I just moved here and I'm a big badass. In
What do
Portland.
I got? What do I need? How do I get booked in here? You know, who do I talk to about getting booked?
Yeah.
You know, would you show up at New Talent? Now you go up with a bunch of people that are really legitimately new talent.
And you
go,
shine.
You know you're going to shine, right?
Yeah.
Because this brings me to a point that I always like to talk to with headliners stuff. Ego will fuck you up, right?
Uh-huh.
Ego will ruin you in this business, I think.
I agree.
And you've seen it, right?
Yeah.
You've seen guys probably that were talented that let ego ruin their trip through radio and stand-up. I've seen that happen, right? And I've known you just a couple of years now, but zero ego. And even back then, very humble. So that worked for you. So you instantly got into the Denver scene pretty quickly.
Yes, yeah, and they were all pretty cool people, and that Denver scene was the scene equal to the Houston scene. I mean, it was Roseanne Barr,
I was going to say, this is where
Me, Matt Berry, who's a writer producer. He was a writer on Roseanne's show, and now he's a writer producer on Last Man Standing. There's a lot of guys that went on, like immediately went on to more, and you're like, oh, I got in it. This is a good scene.
Good scene, yeah.
And again, it's like, this is something else I was telling you guys the other night. We were all hanging together. We hung together. We write together. We'd be like, hey, what if you said, I love that bit you said, but what if you tagged it with this? Oh, thank you. That's very funny. But we did that. And I don't see that today. Do you?
No, I don't. And JB, as a younger guy, we do that. But JB has to remind me sometimes the value of that. JB calls it hang time. The just sitting in the green room together before the show, after the show, or hanging out having lunch while we're all here in Vegas together. And just having those things, that's valuable.
I
doesn't happen
the
anymore.
other day, and none of you guys even know it because you guys were all busy talking.
Yeah.
And to me, that picture is probably one of the most valuable pictures I took this weekend because you were talking to Steven and he's talking to Rick and everything, and I just took the picture, and that to me is the cool thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost as good as being on stage because it's just like, that's all raw stuff right there.
Yeah,
you're talking about, and it's so fun.
And I wish I'd have had something like that in the old days, because the days that were in rooms like that, like I'm sitting there and there's Robin Williams, you know what I mean? Roseanne and Dennis Miller's over here, or one time I was there was Gary Shandling was in there with me, Gary Shandling and Corey Feldman, and but it was. Just to begin nowadays, you just go, I got my phone,
right? Yeah,
like you did. Did you? And you tell these stories because they're in my, and people are like, yeah, sure. It was 1983.
Yeah,
we were
it wasn't like everybody had a little box camera with them.
Yeah,
or
nobody carried.
Yeah.
In those days, you'd even be thought of. What kind of freak would you have been?
Yeah.
What kind of freak in those days? So if you'd have pulled out just a little Kodak with a cube flash.
Hey, everybody, come here.
You guys, come on.
Okay, go ahead and finish your story.
Let me capture this.
That's funny. That's funny. So
it'd be like, don't hang with McGrew. He pulls out the camera.
He's got a camera with him all the time.
He's got a Polaroid with him, man.
And nobody thinks twice about that now.
But excuse me, you're right. That doesn't happen. I don't see it happening as much where there's that sort of support for each other. It feels more competitive.
Yeah.
And that's why...
because everybody wants to be somebody. Everybody thinks they're the next big thing.
Yeah.
Because
that's unbelievable to me how...
It's a different path to success now. Your YouTube channel has over 10 million views.
Right. Well, my videos too.
The videos, right. But guys think they can now just, I can get 10,000 followers on Instagram and then I'll get booked in comedy clubs.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go up and do an open mic set and I'm going to kill with shock material and post it and everybody's going to like me.
It's different. And so that's one of the things that before I even really met you, JB had worked with you in Reno. And he was telling me the advice you were giving him and the ideas and how you and I'm not going to name names and I don't want to say a lot, but I work, I run the club in Reno now, and I've worked at this sort of host feature level for a long time, and I work with a lot of headliners that just don't have time for you and don't take the time, don't even watch your act, don't want to spend any time. And so when I heard, because that was your first time hosting Laugh Factory in Reno, right?
That when we were together.
So he was very nervous and anxious, and
And I say, you totally put me at ease. You're like, hey man, just do this. And you pushed so much relax onto me, because you're just like, don't worry about it, man. It's just gonna, it's gonna happen.
I remember I think I say, hey, once you're on stage, you're already approved. You don't need to be credible. You don't think you need credibility. You're automatically credible because you're on stage.
You're a guy that every time I come off this week in Vegas, this is the first time we've worked together. Almost every time I'm coming off and bringing you up, you always go, "Hey, good job," and a lot of guys don't even, and whether it's true or not, it makes me feel good, and it helps me. It helps me the next show and the next night, and a lot of guys are just. I don't want to sound like that cranky. A lot of guys. I try to pay attention and help guys that deserve it. And that was the thing. that I liked about you. Did you? So, and that's one of the questions I wanted to ask you. You had that relationship with these people,
Yes,
in Denver, like Roseanne.
Yeah.
But you guys, Roseanne wasn't Roseanne when you met her.
no,
she was just getting started.
She was just We used to actually do shows together. We would do our acts separately, and then come back together and sit on stage and do a he said, she said.
Wow.
I don't agree with that.
Did any of those things recorded?
No.
God,
Yeah,
that
see,
would
all
have
this stuff is
been
lost.
great.
Yeah, it's not one of those.
Because you never
don't
thought
like
about
that
then,
anymore,
yeah.
You
It was just the show.
It was just a show.
It was just what you were doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there was we did it. There was a place called the Hungry Farmer in Denver. That was this restaurant that had like a nice little stage
Sure.
because that had some of the restaurants used to have bands or
Yes,
combos.
absolutely, yeah.
Steakhouses.
Yep.
You'd be like, I enjoyed the band,
Yeah,
and that's what this was. And we would do this thing at the Hungry Farmer, and no one ever would have thought about recording it.
So, besides the fact that, so you had headliners and guys above you that obviously were good to you.
Yes.
Were you raised that way? Were you raised in a family that was like, hey, treat people?
Yes.
So that it comes.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing is we talk about. We the three of us have talked about. And I talk about with comics all the time. Like, oh, that guy's a dick and thinks he's famous and stuff. But most people that are dicks because they think they're somebody in or a celebrity now, they were just dicks.
All
they
their
were
life.
raised wrong. Right? Yeah. You're just who you are, and that gets maybe
Yeah.
exaggerated as you get some success. But
Yeah.
I think you're who you are.
I'll sound weird, but I was raised in the church.
Yeah.
I was raised in it. I
Sure.
mean, like, we went on Sundays, we went on Wednesdays. You sing in the choir, Mama sings in the choir. There's spaghetti dinner on Wednesday before church. There's, and I was just raised that way. Grandparents were, my grandfather was a policeman who ended up being chief of detectives in
Okay.
Houston, ran the
All right.
department. I always told all my life, you know good and bad, you know right from wrong.
So, yeah,
if you ever go to jail, we'll never get you out. I was told that.
Yeah.
Like kids today, they don't fear going to jail.
badge of
They don't
honor.
fear anything. Yeah. We were just watching. One of my favorite things about being in Vegas for the week is getting to watch like live PD marathons all day and never leaving my room. And some of the young people that are on these cop shows and stuff are so disrespectful to the police. And I think, man, I would have been scared shitless to talk to an adult like that, much less a guy with a gun and a badge.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of it is how you're raised. And you mentioned church the other night. Now, do you go to church now?
I did. I was going quite a bit, and my pastor is, and I still say is because he's I would say my spiritual.
Okay.
We
Sort of your advisor,
and
your
spiritual
leader,
advisor,
your guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is Richie Fury. Do you
Okay.
know
I know the name. Yeah.
Richie from Buffalo Springfield.
Yeah. Yeah.
Poco.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Rock and Roll Hall of
Yes.
Fame.
Yeah.
He went on
And became
a preacher.
Oh, wow.
He dropped out of the and became a
Wow.
preacher. And so I was going to his church when I was a radio DJ. But when I got out here on the road, it's very hard to go to church.
I was going to say it's difficult because you're working
on Saturdays or
55
Sundays
weeks a
or
year.
whatever.
Yeah. You're.
Yeah.
But I think even if I never had that. My family was not churchgoers, but I've always I've believed in God and sort of have a faith. And I think even if you grew up going to church and you stopped going to church, and even for people out there that are listening that don't have a strong spiritual thing or maybe don't even believe in God, I just think church outside of believing in God and getting to a serious, it just gives you a nice set of morals,
Yeah.
and a nice foundation to come from how to treat other people.
Other people. It's if nothing else. There's two things. I've thought about writing a book because I do this all. You know how it is in a hotel room when you're
course, yeah.
bored. You know
All
how
day
you write
long,
it.
yeah.
But and I copyrighted December 9th, 2000. If you took the 10 Commandments, just the 10, if you took the 10 Commandments and you wrote a self-help book called 10 Rules to Make Your Life Better, it would be a bestseller,
absolutely.
and it would not have the Christian or religious.
You removed the yes.
You know what I mean? But every one of those rules is nothing but, and I don't understand why anybody ever gets offended by the 10 Commandments. Love your neighbor. Okay.
Right. Should we do that? Yeah.
Should we do that? Respect your mother and your father. Oh, okay. I don't understand anything that offends anybody.
It's amazing to me. I was in a car 10 hours with another comic once, and who grew up, Catholic, going to catechism and and then became more of a kind of straight away from that. And we talked about the Bible, as you do when you're 10 hours in a car with somebody, or you just go talk about everything. And he explained that, as he got older, he goes, I don't believe that somebody was leaving a town and turned to look back and got turned into a pillar of salt. And I don't believe that it rained for 40 days and all these animals. But what I do believe is these are a collection of great stories that teach you a nice lesson and have a nice lesson in them. How to behave. And he goes, so I'm not a guy now that I don't necessarily believe like I did when what my family does, but I still believe that everybody should read the Bible and know what it is, because it tells you how to treat people.
If nothing else, it's a good ground to
it's a
build
foundation.
Yeah. Because if you don't want to believe,
sure,
some of that's going to stick with you. Right. And you should know it as literature, if nothing else. How many times can you hear a verse and you go, what is that from? It's the Bible. In literature, there's certain phrases that you'll hear that you need to go,
So that makes sense to me that you were raised in that kind of way because of the kind of guy you are now. You rarely, again, this podcast, you usually highlight other people. I've never, in the time I've spent with you, I don't hear you talking about all these the things that you've done and what you do. And none of your social media is based on that. A lot of guys, even mine, because I'm trying to impress the kids I went to high school with, and
nothing wrong with that.
The people I used to work with in the call center last year, and hey, here I am at the Laugh Factory in Las Vegas.
There's nothing wrong with it. I was told when I was with a big agency in LA that you should always create your own buzz. That if nobody thinks nothing's happening, nobody wants you.
Sure.
But if you're like, hey, I'm busy this week, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I've got my script just being almost finished.
That's a great point.
So but in social media now, it almost sounds like bragging. The old days, you could be at a club, and you're at a club. Hey, what have you been up to?
What have you been doing? And you're just
I'm working on this. But that was a different time.
You do that, but your social media comes across very well. You do this podcast. You before you went on this weird diet, you did Noodle Chat. We'll get to this.
Which we are going to do that later tonight.
You do lots of stuff. You have some characters that you do on your YouTube and your Instagram, and you do lots of stuff, but none of it ever seems self-serving to me. And so like I feel like it's, we need to point out the good guys in this business.
Yeah,
there's some guys that aren't
I
good
appreciate
guys,
that.
And you are you were universally considered a good guy.
I was you're right,
and you haven't changed
universally.
Yes,
and I haven't changed. No,
you absolutely. And I don't know how much you want to get into that here, but
we will.
You were universally. I think I never heard a harsh word about you before I met you, ever. People said good things. People always said you were funny. People always said you were nice, easy to get along with. And then
Trump got elected.
and you decided to celebrate that and talk about that. And now you haven't changed. You're the same person you were.
No.
But now,
and I don't even push it like when we're together. Do I constantly go to?
Never.
Did you see what Trump did today? Did you see what? Did you hear what such and such said about?
No. When I first met you, I didn't even know because you didn't bring it up. And I love when I'm with, like this week, our feature act brought it up. Just kind of said, and I love to. I watch the look on your face, and I watch you sort of get this grin, and you go, "Oh hell, here we go."
Yeah.
And you never know where people are going to go with it.
And I didn't go into it much.
You don't. You just let him do his thing, and that's what I do as a conservative. I just go, okay. But then we find out
he is too. He slowly started talking, and he's like, "Well, I have to agree with you on a lot of this."
I had a guy come up to me after a show in Reno, and he was from Georgia, and I said, "What brings you out here?" And he literally like bent down and pulled me down with him. Literally said, "I work for the Republican Party," and I said, "You don't have to whisper that to me, sir. Let's go outside and talk." And people are sometimes on the Republican side of the aisle scared to say who you support and stuff. But you, you don't do it at all in your act.
No.
It doesn't come up one time in an hour.
No, because I believe stand-up should be funny. It just should be funny. People come to a show to forget their politics and religion. They forget about it. That I was raised that way. But I am going to do, as we were talking about earlier, I'm going to do this tour next year called the Deplorables Tour. And they really want to market it straight to the conservative. I mean, that's
because there is a lot of comedy marketed to liberals.
yeah, a lot.
A lot of it, and obviously, as you can tell by the election results, half the country would like to hear some other stuff.
You know what we say half the country, but it's more.
It's more.
It's more. People always say like
Half the
we're
country
dividing
will
half.
admit it. Less than half will admit it.
Don't you think so?
Absolutely. I see it when I'm in comedy clubs, and a comic goes, all right, and we talked about this tonight. A comic will say, if they're going to get into this political material, all right, it's almost like, even if it's who voted for Trump, it almost comes out like, all right, which one of you assholes voted for Trump? You know, and so nobody's comfortable going, you know, unless it's a drunk redneck guy that goes, oh yeah, make America great again. And so people don't want to get in fights with people.
Yeah,
you know, not
because we're the fight. It's not because we're the fighters.
No, right.
We're not.
It's liberals usually
just
that are
like
condescending and giving you a hard time. So.
Yeah, but see, I have been conservative all my life.
Right.
Leaning conservative.
Well, just based on where you grew up and in the household, I mean, that makes perfect sense.
And, you know, religious background.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I was always the black dog or the black sheep of the family because I had long hair. I got kicked out of school for hair. I had to get my hair cut to get back into school.
You were making jokes all the time.
Making jokes all the time. Gay friend. I have my gay friends. So like, what are you hanging out with them for? You know. So I've always been like. It's like conservative, but in the middle. I believe you should do this, but that's okay. But another thing is I'm a linear thinker, and most people aren't linear.
No.
If you believe this, then you have to believe this down here. It has to be that way. And I call it the cafeteria Christians who just go along and pick that and pick this or pick
I'll
that.
Take that. The a la carte Christians, yeah.
But if you said you believe this, then you have to believe this too.
Yeah.
So that's a big problem with me. So all my life I've been sort of liberal with conservative bent. If that's
sure conservative thinking and conservative values.
Yeah, save your money, work hard. Nobody gets shit for free.
This is what made me. You know, I said this to you the other night in the green room. We were talking about JB, and I didn't pay attention to politics, and so I considered myself a liberal Democrat. I voted for Democrat. I thought, well, I'm a nice person. I care about people, and that's what Democrats do. Republicans don't care about people. They want to, But when I started paying attention, and I was doing a radio show, I was board opping, which is but when you work the controls for a guy, and he was a conservative talk show host, and he wasn't one of those Hannity pound the table kind of guys. You know, he was just talking, and he was talking about. The thing that got me paying attention and to the conservative side was big government and how they mess everything up, and how the more the government's involved, the more things are effed up, you know. And so the more you think about it, I think the more you go to that side and you see, Republicans really do care about people. It doesn't mean we don't care about, it's such a...
If we do care about you, it's because we want you to be better.
Whether you're white, black, gay, female, straight, whatever.
Right. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we
want the best for you.
For everybody, yeah.
You getting something for free does not help you.
Right.
That's what when you learn that work makes you feel better about yourself.
If you have to earn something, you'll appreciate it more. Didn't everyone's parents tell them that growing up? Don't you tell your kids that? I tell my kids that.
You will drive a car to shit if you're paying for it. But if it's mama's car, you're going to burn out the tires. You're going to pop the clutch.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So that's my deal. They're popping the clutch on the government. So
what happened was you are still Steve McGrew that everybody's liked and has been a pleasant guy to hang around with and be around and helpful and a good guy, and then never on stage, and it's not something I see you bring up in conversation. You just happen to on social media support our president.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
as millions of Americans do.
he did get voted into office.
Yeah. When I hear people say, "Not my president,"
Yeah.
he's not my. Do you live in this freaking country? I guess he is.
You said you were moving to Canada, so
How many of those people have left?
Not one, because things are still good.
Yeah. This country is so bad.
Things are better.
They're so bad. There's a caravan trying to break in.
Break down the doors to get in here. We talked to a guy, and I won't mention any names either, this week here in Las Vegas, who we were talking about politics a little bit, you and I, and he overheard. And we said, and you said, "Oh, I'm sorry if we're bothering you with this kind of talk." And he said, "Listen, I don't really know anything. I know that I work in construction.
Yeah.
And 3 years ago, I wasn't working very much. And the last 2 years, I'm working a lot.
I'm working
Remember he
a
said
lot."
That?
Yeah. He goes, "In the last 2 years, I'm working a lot."
So, but besides what our politics are, what pisses me off, and doesn't piss you off as much as it pisses me off, apparently, is people started to attack you personally.
Yeah.
For your political beliefs and your political stuff just on social media.
Yeah.
And really only on Twitter is where you do it, where you talk about it.
Right. Or I'll post some memes or stuff
occasionally
on Facebook.
on Facebook, sure, and Instagram a little bit, but your Facebook and your Instagram are a mix of, oh, here's a funny thing, here's a show I'm doing, here's something I said that was funny, here's a meme I thought was funny, here's a political thing. And then Twitter is more of, hey, here's what Trump did that was good, and here's something. And it's amazing to me the vitriol that you and others like you have suffered by just saying, "Hey, this is what I believe." Not saying what you never come at it the way I see a lot of people on the other side come at it, and people even on the conservative
you
side.
Toothless rednecks that are trying to bring this country down.
You never come at it that way. I've never seen you say, "I think this." And if you don't agree, you're an idiot. I never see you say that. You go, "I think this," and you suffered for it.
Yeah.
And now it has, and again, you can stop me if you don't want to get into it, but now it has, I was going to say affected your career, but that's not true. You're working
more
53 weeks a year.
Yeah. So that's why I think it's funny. People, as you saw the other day,
Yes.
somebody was like, "You can't get work. Nobody wants to hire you.
Work here,
you can't
you're
work
not
here
working
anymore."
there.
I'm like, "No, I don't want to work there. I don't. They don't pay as much as the places I am working."
I can tell you, I run the Laugh Factory in Reno. We haven't had you in over a year. And I thought, I hope this isn't because of what's going on with your political leanings, and it's not. It's because you don't have an open week. We can't work it out.
I'm
we can't
busy.
fit you in your schedule. So
it's like what I put on that YouTube. I kind of made a response. I don't mean not YouTube, but Facebook. I guess saw the response. I've looked. Let me set this straight.
Yeah.
I'm busy.
because someone accused you of doing all this Trump stuff for personal gain, and said, "Oh, you can't even work at the club in your hometown."
Yeah.
And you said, which is true. It's not that I can't. I don't. It doesn't pay enough for me. And hey, and I'm sure if you're home, you had an open week, and
it would be
they
great.
said you want to work, I'll work.
Yeah, I can run over there.
This is a business. We're doing this to get. Even I do it part time, but I do it to make money, to get paid.
What you're saying right there is it's a business. I think a lot of people forget that in comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, and
there's so many egos and
on Dobie
emotions
Maxwell's
involved.
site, he's always talking about that, about a lot of the new guys coming up. They don't understand the business part of it, and you have to run it as a business,
right?
As opposed to like, oh, I'm just going to go here and have fun and do that, and they don't realize it, and it seems like that's how a lot of them are failing, because they don't realize it is a business.
Yeah,
and
you have to work that ladder. This
right.
is at one point years ago, I had to actually stop certain clubs. You go, "This is the money I make," and if another club hears that they've paid me,
and I'm working here for that much,
then why would this club want to pay me more?
Absolutely.
So at one point you go, "This is my price, and that's all I can work for."
Sure.
I can work for more happily, but I can't be working in the same state and you're paying me $1,000 less than the club does. No,
I think there are people in this business, and I'm sure in any business, but I think there are people in this business that care more about being famous than making a living. I like doing comedy sometimes, but I like getting
paid. You look
paid.
like you enjoy it most of the time.
I fake it pretty well.
Okay.
I would prefer to just write jokes for someone else and never set foot on stage in front of people. It scares the hell out of me.
First show on Friday. He faked it really well.
Yeah.
The second show was
sometimes I'm having fun.
He faked it really well.
He was ad-libbing fake.
Yes, I'm right. But this week I'm having fun because I'm here with you. JB's here. I always love when JB's here. This is a fun week. But I also want to get paid.
Yeah.
You know, my first thing when someone offers me a gig, if someone says, you know, in Reno, if someone says, hey, do you want to do this silly thing at this bar or whatever, and my first thing is, what does it pay?
Very first thing, what does it pay?
Yes, and then, you know, they go, whoa, it's you know, it's just going to be fun. And blah. I go, no, I don't. I do this to get paid.
I can have fun at home.
Yeah, I would, if I'm not getting paid, I will play Red Dead Redemption 2 for 8 hours or whatever. You know,
Right.
I'm not coming out of the house unless I'm getting some money, or if I'll do it for free food. I'm at that level still. But it's so
You
you're.
guys have the Golden Corral.
Oh, if there was comedy. At the
Well, let me
comedy at the corral.
Let me stop this for a second, and we have to talk about the Golden
geez.
Corral, because I'm taking control again. Because you guys went to the Golden Corral here in Vegas.
We come all the way to Vegas.
To go to the
Where
Golden
there are
Corral.
Thousands of restaurants.
Some of the best
and
restaurants
some of
in
the
the
best food
world. In the world.
And I say to JB, hey, there's a Golden Corral.
Dude, don't feel bad.
Because believe it or not, there is no Golden Corral in Reno, which you would think would be right for a Golden Corral.
But he's giving you crap about it. Well, we went to Denny's the other night. So, I mean, it's the same thing. Twice.
That's convenience, though.
I mean,
Denny's is close.
Denny's is close. And see, I'm doing the keto diet. You're talking about the weird diet. I'm doing keto. So if I go to Denny's, everything on the menu I can eat.
Right.
Meat, bacon, eggs.
No carbs.
No carbs.
And
so it's right there.
It's
and I can
a block away.
Yeah, and I can go, give me a side of bacon and a hamburger with no bun.
I drove close to 20 minutes to get to the Golden Corral.
Yeah.
So it's not
And
convenient. It's in a
let's
bad
go
neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's where I was going.
Yes, it was.
I heard it was not in a good neighborhood.
Not in a good neighborhood. The
Can we say
pigeons,
that?
the pigeons are scary at that Golden
Can we
Corral.
say that anymore? Is that politically incorrect to point out somebody is a bad neighborhood?
Yeah, you're racist right now. If you say it's a bad neighborhood, right?
Underfunded.
An underfunded neighborhood. Because it just, when you said that, it dawned on me. I mean, like, can't we even be honest
sound that,
anymore
yeah.
with, like,
Well.
we don't go over there.
Well,
That's, you know.
Were we
Yeah.
right to call the pigeon that walked out a fat pigeon? We
Yeah.
walked out there, at the Golden Corral. This pigeon was like, he looked like a chicken. He was so big.
Yeah.
And he's just walking and
He almost got hit by a car.
Yeah.
And at the last second, he kind of went,
right.
"I'll fly, I guess."
I mean, we're like, wow, this pigeon, he's good here at the Golden Corral. And he's like,
He flew like
move
2
here.
feet just to avoid the car.
It's funny you said that today. I talked to a pigeon this week, too. It's so funny. I talked to a pigeon. I was walking between here and the Denny's, and in the middle of the street, I was crossing. In the middle of the street, there was a pigeon just walking in the middle, walking. And I go, "Hey, little dude, you probably should get out of the street.
You can fly.
And the pigeon looked up at me.
Hey, little dude.
I go, "Hey, little dude, you." The pigeon looked up at me and just kept walking, like, mind your own fucking business. But I did. I thought I should tell this little guy. The street is not the place.
It's not
not
safe for
safe
you.
anymore.
But yeah, we and then I ate myself into like illness. Like I'm like a
He told me
I'm
you
a heroin
actually
addict.
came back like
I said,
I'm sick.
I got the trash can in the hotel room and I
He
straddled the
ate.
bed and
I
I just
mean-
kept eating because like there's so much. Like the pot
and
roast, and
love-
then there was
I love the Golden
spaghetti,
Corral.
and then there was sliders, and then there was grilled cheese sandwiches and broccoli
Shrimp on a
cheese
stick.
dip, and shrimp on a stick.
He goes to each station the first time, then he comes back and then he goes to the second station and eats everything there. I mean, this guy can eat.
Okay, let me. Here's my Golden Corral because I like the Golden Corral.
I love it.
I'm white trash. White trash and proud. Damn it.
That's right.
And I did make
Cracker power.
You and me both.
I did put him back in the Wayback Machine because he looked at the rolls and didn't grab one. And I told him, I said, I go, here you go. We're gonna go in the Wayback Machine. Grab a piece of this roll and eat it. And I go, it's going to take you back to your childhood in the cafeteria at school because that's what
those
this.
big butter-
And he did, and it was so. And
So
just the look
good,
on his
huh?
face, he was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm right."
By the time I got to the soft serve, I was already hurting. But I was like, there's soft serve here, and I paid, and I'm going to eat this
I
soft
only
serve.
eat this
And
stuff.
I knew, it's like a heroin addict that was, like, if I put this needle in my arm one time, I'm going to die, but I'm still putting this needle in my arm. I was just eating that soft serve, and I was already sick.
Well, I do. When I go to the Golden Corral, I scope out. I scope it first.
Sure, you got to check it first.
Check it
What's
out.
available
What's
today?
available, and then my first round is what I really like, what I know that I like, or that I'm hungry
That
for.
you for sure are hungry for,
That is my
right.
first round, and then I will go back and strategically strike. Like,
let me check out this bourbon chicken here.
Yeah, I haven't had that yet. So now that goes back to the
JB got something, and I said, "What is that?" He goes, "I don't know. It might be fish."
But it looked good, and I'm like, I'm eating it. I'm like, yeah, that was good fish. What kind? I don't know.
I don't know.
Fish. I'm going again.
Yeah, and that's my way to do it. Is I make sure that I eat what I like.
Yes.
So I know I got my money's worth, and then I really get my money's worth.
That's part of it for me. Is like I'm going to get value out of this.
Yeah.
And didn't I say to you? I said we might have to spend a couple hours here so I could let it digest and then go back a little bit. And
you don't go purge.
I was just gonna say, you're gonna be like Jay, and go to the bathroom, make room, come back out, and go again.
They had chocolate fudge out there, and I just could not bring myself to eat a piece of that chocolate fudge. And I was like, I want some. So I was so sick, right? How sick? I was sick, right?
He told me. He said you came back. And
like, he's done, man.
But
food hangover.
That was probably what 1:30 yesterday afternoon.
That was probably about 2:30.
2:30 yesterday afternoon. After the first show last night, I was sitting in the green room thinking, I'm going to go to Golden Corral for breakfast. I was ready to go again. So it's a sickness. It's an illness. Yeah. So I got to get on your keto diet and start watching myself because you look good.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm trying.
I did. I came up behind you this morning in the casino. You were sitting and having a cup of coffee. And I thought, hey. And then I was like, oh, that's Steve. And I said to you, what you say in your act? I said, you do look like a hot white woman from the back.
White woman from the back.
I almost did get up on you.
I got good hair. I paid for it.
I said, this woman's sitting by herself. Oh, it's Steve. But anyway, just to wrap that up, I am so impressed with the way you handle the slings and arrows that you've had to suffer in the last couple of years.
Thank you.
You are very kind-hearted, and you even in your response to this thing that just happened yesterday.
If you're mad,
yeah, it's funny to me because as we're talking about it, I'm getting agitated, and you're sort of chuckling. You're just like,
what can I do? What can I do?
It's not you that it's not you, it's them situation.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that happened yesterday was there was such vitriol spit at you, and at first I thought
that was just mean.
I thought it was private. But this is a guy that posted some really mean things to you publicly, and said. Basically, said about your work on cruise ships, and said, feel free to jump off.
Yeah, basically go kill yourself. Basically, go kill yourself. Yeah,
because you support the president of the United States of America, you might as well just kill yourself. Yeah, and I was so. I said something.
You weren't even in the room.
I made a shitty comment on the post on your Facebook page.
I saw it. I believe.
But you just handled that, and then even your response was very measured and honest and kind, and I tried to stop and think as a guy that I suffer from some mental health depression and anxiety and some things, and I can be petty and I can be, and I stopped and thought, well, this guy that posted all that stuff, if you stop and think about it and really pay attention to what he's saying, obviously has some issues of his own that need to be worked out. And that's kind of how you came at it. You were like, listen, this was a friend of mine, and I don't know what's going on with him.
I've been to it, but I recorded his podcast. I don't know. And he even wrote in the thing, like, we used to be friends. I used to look up to you. Now I don't care if you,
And again,
what did I do? What did I do to you?
That's right.
What did I do to you?
Him, except disagree with him politically.
Yeah.
And that's how ugly it's gotten. And I'm just... I'm very impressed with how you handle all that stuff.
Well,
I'm trying to learn from your example.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But I just think I've always, like I said earlier, I've always believed a certain thing, and my belief system hasn't changed. It hurt me in Hollywood in the 90s before too, because I was not a Bill Clinton fan, and everybody loved Clinton in Hollywood. I mean, you know how back.
Of course,
they just loved. He could do no wrong. I don't care that Bill was sleeping with his intern.
I don't care about Juanita Broderick.
I don't care about that. You drag $100 bill through a trailer park, that's what you're going to get. And I'm friends with Paula Jones. That's what a small weird world this is.
It really
I'm friends with Paula Jones, and and I'm like, she didn't deserve that, and so then you look at what they're doing to Trump. They're like, he's trying to make money as president. Well, back then you said money was fine because you didn't care what Clinton did because the economy was great. Well, right now you hate Trump, but the economy is better than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Unemployment's the lowest. Yep. Black unemployment, the lowest it's ever been. Hispanic unemployment, super low. It's like He's racist. That's why he's helping black unemployment, I guess.
Yeah, they can never, and that's the thing is what I learned being on the conservative side, and when we did that conservative talk show, the guy that I was on with it that was very smart and conservative, I would watch him have discussions with people on the other side, and he would just ask them questions. Trump's racist. Could you give me an example of when Trump was racist? Well, he's just racist. He tweeted one time something racist.
He tweeted something mean.
He tweeted something and it was racist. Well, was it racist? Could you show me that tweet? Well, it seemed racist, and then you just back him off of it, because my daughter, who's about to turn 18 and is a lesbian and came out about 4 years ago, was a little concerned when he got elected because she's afraid that some of their rights are going to be taken. But she said to me just about 3 weeks ago, she said, I said something about Trump. She said, "It's funny, Daddy, because it doesn't seem like it's anything has changed for all these people who are afraid things are going to change for them. Immigrants and gays." And I said, "It hasn't, because we care about Republicans care about people and want things to be good for everybody." And so people come around. If you pay attention, people come around.
Well, I remember the shooting at the gay nightclub.
Yes, Pulse in Florida.
Yeah, and there was so many gay friends that I know personally. They were like, "I'm getting a gun. I'm going to go to the shooting range."
Oh, my daughter can't wait to turn 18 so she can carry.
And that Trump is protecting your right to protect yourself as a gay person. So it's like, I don't understand your concept.
It's unbelievable to me, and it's unbelievable that somebody would so actively and overtly, as this person did that we're talking about, go out of their way to ruin a relationship with somebody. And a lot of it, again, I think it was done publicly to sort of impress
a booker
that doesn't want to use you because of your political beliefs.
Yeah.
So this guy thought, well, I'll pile on. And maybe I can get booked in this club. This guy that the last show that shows on any of his social media is doing a fucking Elks Club show in Wyoming somewhere. So
I'll be in a corner with a metal light pointed at me.
Who needs a sound system? So I think a lot of it was that, like, oh, I'm gonna show my support for this booker that's not booking you, and then maybe that booker will see that and book me. I used to want to work that club because my dad is a fan of the guy that books it and whose name is on it, and I just don't. Listen, this is an easy sacrifice. I'm making air quotes because it's not like they're coming to me. And
but I know.
But if they did now, and I did meet somebody who could have maybe helped me, and I thought, you know what, I'm not even going to pursue that.
You had a couple people that could have helped.
I don't want to. Yeah, I know people that work there, and I've gotten some info, and I thought, you know what, it's not worth it to me to do that. I don't want to. I mean, what if I'm there for 3 days and somebody sees a tweet and I don't do it much, but I tweet sometimes, and what if somebody sees a tweet that they didn't like, and all of a sudden I get fired 3 days into that run,
Well, I think it's funny is when I
tweet a lot. I don't tweet political very much. I did tweet today what a right-wing douchebag that Kid Rock is for paying $80,000 of people's layaways.
Yeah, making them
what a right-wing jerk off, huh?
Paying it forward like that.
What an asshole. Yeah. So
I just somebody would do that.
I feel like if you don't.
How many liberals have you read about buying somebody's coffee in line?
Speaking of this just occurred. I just saw this today, and I refrained from reposting with my thoughts. But I saw a post on Facebook today, and I wanted to ask you about it. I might as well ask you about it here because it's interesting.
Okay.
It was a post from a lady that said, and it was very adamant. It wasn't nicely phrased, and it said, "Stop telling your kids that Santa Claus brought them that iPad or that Xbox, because some people can't afford those things." And Santa Claus is getting them socks or a sweater, and then they have to explain to their kids why Santa Claus doesn't love them as much as Bobby's parents because Santa Claus got him an iPad. So stop telling your kids that. Can you believe that shit?
No, I can't.
I'll tell my kids whatever the hell I want. If I want to tell my kids that Camaro out in the driveway is from Santa Claus, I will.
Yeah.
You handle your own
I'll put some
kids.
Reindeer shit on the hood, and I'll say that got dropped off by Santa last night.
How far are we going to go with trying to make sure everybody's... Listen, I love kids, and I understand that might be a difficult thing for some parents. But you parent your kids.
It's not. It's not difficult. We all were told Santa was real. And then one day we were told he wasn't. And we found out that it's just a great little story for kids. And it didn't freak me out. I wasn't like, what else have you lied to me about?
It's so I mean, you just can't do anything. You can't do anything.
People are becoming dumber and dumber. We probably shouldn't say that about the general public, but they are.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see people that can't figure out how to work an elevator, you know what I mean? The up button means up. Oh, is this going up? Yes, ma'am. That's why the arrow was
stand
pointing
right under the giant sign that says Laugh Factory entrance.
Yeah.
And they go, hey, where's the Laugh Factory?
Where to get in? How do you get into this
And he
place?
goes right down there, and they go, where? You know,
Google directions for
yeah.
this. Or,
I mean, I heard the phrase once, a person is smart, but people are dumb.
That's probably true, but
For the most part.
I've seen
I've seen
people
some
in the
dumb persons,
airport where you see like the sign, the Terminal A, Terminal B. You know, like you see separate hallways, and somebody would go, "Where's Terminal A?" Bobby, under that letter A. That's you know, I don't
To
understand
me,
people.
it's a symptom of I mean, nobody's self-sufficient, you know? I mean, I had to pick up JB
there's
at
an
the
app
airport.
for that.
There's an app for that.
YouTube.
Somebody points you in the right direction, tells you how to do everything, all the way up to how to think.
Yeah.
You know, people. How people used to ask us on the radio show, what's the best source for news? And my buddy that was on the show would say, there is no perfect. You got to look at everything and make your own decision.
Make a decision. Listen to both sides and make your decision.
I had to pick up JB at the airport on Friday, and I had anxiety about going to Las Vegas. I'd never been to the Las Vegas yet. But you know what? I followed the signs that said Terminal 1, Allegiant Air, and I found you, and I got you back here.
Yeah.
And I didn't ask anybody where anything was. And
Try being an international traveler where you don't speak
when you're on cruise
the
ships
language,
and,
and you get off and you're like, I'm in the Naples airport and I don't speak Italian.
But you still find your way around.
One night I got off a plane, delayed plane, came in like at midnight in Barcelona, Madrid, and everything's in Spanish. And I honestly was like, at midnight, airports are shut down.
Sure,
even in
nobody,
America.
yeah.
There's a couple guys sweeping, and he doesn't speak English.
Too, yeah.
And you just have to start looking around. And you think, oh, that's a piece of luggage. That's a song. That's a logo of a piece of. I wasn't freaking out. I wasn't texting somebody. Oh my God! I don't know what I'm supposed to do here in the airport. How am I gonna?
You can curl up in the fetal position, and I'm gonna have to wait till this airport opens in the morning.
Right. You just have to be like intelligent enough to just start. Okay, let's piece. And I think that might have been just from being a Boy Scout. Like how you were lost in the woods.
Yep.
How do you get out?
Yep.
You know.
Yep. And I have not always been that kind of person. I always look up. One of the things I love about being friends with JB is I know JB's a guy that can just take care of things and we'll figure things out. Like we're driving home after the show Sunday night at midnight, and I wouldn't do that myself. But I go, I'll be with JB, so if something happens, we'll take care of it because JB can take care of himself and we'll figure things out.
Right.
And so I respect people like that, and there's less and less people like that.
Why do you think that?
Shit, you fooled me.
I think I've said this on here before, but I'm not positive. But my parents splurged in the day and bought World Book encyclopedias.
Yeah.
Do you remember how
of course.
if a family has a set of, you got a set of
You got a whole
encyclopedias.
set. We only got Q and R.
Yeah. And I read the World Book encyclopedia, like from A to Z. And my mom was like, she tells me, I remember I thought it was so weird. He was reading encyclopedias.
Like great pictures.
We get great pictures. There was
Very brief, nice.
Yes, very brief.
Yeah.
You got the fact.
Yeah.
There was like human bodies with clear pages. That's where the heart
goes to right there. I love that one. It's like you see this. Okay, you turn it over. Now you got the
There's the
veins.
bones.
Turn it over the bones.
Yeah, then the stomach comes out with that.
Oh my God, that was the best one.
I love
like 10 pages of clear stacked up.
Yeah. And I did. I learned all that. So my head is full of
Useless information?
No, it's useful.
It's useful information, but not like a lot of it. I guess it is a lot.
There's still room for Motley Crue lyrics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
but like I got in an argument one day with somebody about I'm gonna go back to conservative.
Yeah.
Oh, that's racist. No, that's not, because Mexican is not a race. That's a nationality. And I go,
yes, American is not a race.
It's a nationality.
Right.
There are only 3 races. They're like Caucasian, Mongoloid, and Negroid. Those are
scientifically.
Scientifically, that is the breakdown of the races, because the continents or you'll have these you'll have these features or this kind of this is what, and I go, that's the racist. Everything else is you're racist. No, I'm Swedish. You can't. That's. And people can't understand that, because if they don't have that background, they don't know what you're talking about. And then but here's the point I was going with this. Somebody goes, no, that was in 1971. They've updated that since then. Oh, I'm sorry. I read the encyclopedia in 1971. That's where my scientific, I guess.
So that's, but apparently there's that to make everybody feel better. They've updated that. Yeah, sure.
So now I guess I'm I'm being racist because I didn't know the new classification of something. But
the feel good classification.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see that there's someone like you that handles it the way you do when people are coming after you. And for what you do on Twitter, again, it's nothing. Would you be comfortable? Let's say your act was 45 minutes and 20 minutes of it was "Make America Great Again," Trump, 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 Trump. Or then would you be okay with bookers not working you? Can they make that? Do you think they can make that decision based on your act?
I think they could, based on my act.
Right. If they said, "I don't want that,"
you're pissing off half of our audience. That'd be justified. Yeah. But just to go up, I can do an hour and a half and never mention
not one thing.
Nobody
that watched what I've seen you do. Nobody that watched the act that I've seen you do. You do 35 here and 45 in Reno. Nobody could come out of that and say. And make an educated guess about what your politics are.
No,
not a chance.
The only thing that I do, I was telling this the other day, is I do slip in keywords every once in a while. And you might not have even have noticed it. Because I'm not talking about, I want to smack other people's kids. Like that. These little snowflakes today drive me crazy.
I did hear some man bun stuff.
Man bun, you know what I mean? There's things but it's not like, what kind of loser is wearing a man bun?
No.
If thank God Trump's the president today because we can tell these little snowflakes to get their, there's a different way to do it.
Absolutely.
But if you just drop it enough that they go,
the people that get it. Yeah.
I got you.
Okay, I'm thinking of your dad and your mom when you do that. Don't do that.
Still.
I'm just like, oh God. You got gross out. I am too.
I know that you don't go out of your way to highlight yourself and the things that you have dealt with and that you're going through.
You don't brag, you're not a bully.
Right. And so I wanted to make sure that when we hijack this podcast that I shine that light on you a little, because
it was fun having you
hijack
this. It was kind of fun.
I like doing it. I would rather talk about you than me.
Well,
believe it or not, as much as I get accused of being a narcissist, I do take a lot of selfies.
But you are a radio DJ in Reno now. It used to be Truckee.
104. I did Truckee I did Reno, and then as happens in radio, as you know, those companies, the stations I work for went out of business.
Yeah.
You got to go find the next radio job. And then I was lucky to come back to Reno, and we play easy listening music from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. It's easy1041.com.
Oh, they can listen online.
Check it out online. Yeah, not a lot of DJ chatter bolts shit. It's just we try to play the music for people. And
well, here's everybody knows, not everybody, but I was a radio DJ. I won three CMA awards.
Yeah.
I won a Marconi.
You did in Denver.
Yeah.
Which is market?
I don't know now.
It's in the top 20.
Yes, it is. But I say now I don't know.
Yeah, it moves around, but Denver's a big market.
Right.
Big.
It's actually bigger than Vegas.
Yeah.
So
I mean, anybody can get a radio job in Reno, trust me. But Denver, it takes, you got to be talented. I mean, that's a big market, and a lot of people want those gigs. So yeah.
Yeah. And so I enjoyed doing it, but I think when I first got hired on radio, I was a comic. They just wanted a sidekick.
Me too.
You come in and be the sidekick. Oh, yeah. I didn't know anything but be funny. That's all I knew how to do. I wasn't trained in radio. I didn't go to school for broadcasting. I didn't, hey, welcome, it's Sunny 103.
Hey, 73 out there right now. Speaking of 73, here's America from 1973.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't have that. I didn't know how to puke.
Yeah, right. It's called puking. Yeah.
Puking.
Yeah.
And so all I knew how to just come in and be goofy,
yourself.
and be goofy and try to come up with like, hey, tomorrow on the show, you ever see, like, I love Lucky Charms, but they have the fake Lucky Charms in the store. And I go, sometimes I think the fake Lucky Charms taste better. And here's why. I think there's more marshmallows in the fake Lucky Charms. Yes, tomorrow on the show, we are going to count the marshmallows in the Lucky Charms. And that's what...
That resonates with people because that's real. Radio's an intimate medium, and they're listening to you, and they're like, I like this guy. It's like hanging out with my friend. He's going to count these marshmallows. It's going to be so much fun. And because you didn't have, and because I didn't have broadcasting school or whatever, you just come in and be yourself, and people respond to that.
Yeah, but then the more I did it, the more it was programmed out of me.
They stomp it. They hire you to be creative and talk on the radio.
Yeah.
And then they tell you not to be creative and don't talk so much on the radio.
Right. And don't we had a complaint about that, so don't do it.
Yeah, well, you had one person.
We had a complaint. Yeah. Well, that represents 100 one call, this,
yes,
one
absolutely.
Call represents
one call is if 27 people feel that way.
Yeah, cuz they won't, not everybody will call. Yeah. So the ratio
bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. So then the more that gets programmed into you, you think, well, I'm not even going to talk today. I don't even feel like I don't feel like saying a word today.
You hit it on
and they're
the
like,
head.
You're awful quiet on the show today. What am I going to talk about? That I'm not going to come in here and you're going to go, well, why did you say that? Because I thought it was funny.
The people running radio are some of the, not everybody, but, and I think the bigger market you get in and the higher you raise up, it's probably more true. The people running radio are some of the stuffiest, least creative people in the world.
Those who don't, those who can't teach.
And they're trying to tell you how to be on the air and be creative and what's funny and what's, well, that's not funny. And I kind of know funny, I think.
I can respect, if my ex-program director hears this, I can respect what he does.
He was trying to run a business.
He was trying. He was smart enough to hire me, too.
Right.
At one point.
At one point, he liked me, right?
But like one time in a meeting, he said, "What's the show about tomorrow?" And I go, "I don't know. It might not have happened yet."
That's right.
Oh, well, you should never crack a mic unless you know what you're going to say. You should never come on air unless you are prepared. And I go, I do it on stage all the time.
I just was going to say, you crack a mic on stage in front of a room full of people every day, and you know sort of what you're going to do, but you don't know for sure.
I don't know where it's going to go.
Happen.
Yeah. Sometimes I have to talk for 4 or 5 minutes before I realize that's where I was headed with this.
You can prepare the life and quality out of radio.
Yes.
You can prepare all of the fun and life and quality out of it.
It has to be spontaneous.
It's such like I said, it's an intimate medium, right? We in a comedy club, you're standing in front of 60 to you've done shows for thousands of people.
Yeah, 60,000 is most I've ever done.
So that's on radio. You're really most of the time. You're talking to one person in their car or getting ready in their bathroom. You're just talking to one person.
Yeah.
So to over prepare and you see guys that read. And
the prep is right here. They've written
rip and read, right?
Rip and read.
They pull a funny story off the internet, and then they just read it, and they go, "Isn't that crazy?"
Yeah.
And then they have no point of view on it. They got no joke about it. There's no life to it.
Did you see where this lady had her shoe stolen by an alligator? Wow, that would scare me to death. Hey, here's the new one from Rascal Flatts.
That's it. It's just this generic And so I'm lucky where I'm at, and where I was when we got laid off was I want to, in case anybody's listening, was Shamrock Communications, and the people that ran that in Reno let us do. We did that. They put that political show on, Conservative Talk Radio, and we said we don't want you coming to us all the time and saying, don't do that. And, because people are going to complain sometimes.
Yeah.
And they never did. They let us we did a bit when, I don't know, you remember, Marco Rubio said, ISIS, during the debates, ISIS isn't coming here to open car washes. So we did a commercial for ISIS car wash. Yeah. We were like, the car wash of ISIS, you'll love our prices. And then the end was, the car wash of ISIS, you should be heading here already. Boom. Yeah, right. And they let us, and some people were like, that's over the line. They let us do it, and they fielded it. So I was so lucky to be in that environment, but I don't think that's the norm. And where I am now, it's just me and the owner, basically. Yeah. He owns it, runs it. We do the morning show together. So he's the guy I got to watch. I'm like, hey, don't say that. So I'm lucky, but you're not always that lucky. So that's why radio's not a thing for you anymore, because in the bigger markets where it would be worth your while to go work and make money, you can't be Steve McGrew.
Right. Well,
you can't be Mudflat.
I will wrap this up with this little story. But I started telling my radio station 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. 10 years ago, and back up a little farther, I actually got credited. I was written up in one of the industry newsletters, was being the first guys to use Facebook on radio. Because I've always been an internet person. I mean, I've been a computer since the 80s. I was DOS. I was learning. I could make graphics on my
Commodore
computer.
64.
Yes, I was always into this. So I was loving the fact I could do this. And I would get on Facebook and I would post, which so many do now. It doesn't even sound original, but I'd be like, tomorrow we are going to, and
use it as a tool.
Right. So I got actually written up back then as like, this has been working great for Denver. People should try this. And so I was well aware of what was going on. And I used to tell them, radio is dying if you don't keep up with podcasts.
Bingo.
And and then when
radio always thinks they're immune to whatever the new thing is, to Spotify and to podcasts.
Yeah, that's not going to affect us at all.
Yeah.
Not going to affect us
radio,
at all. So then they started doing this more music, less talk, which then you don't need it. You don't need me. I'm a comic. All you need is somebody to go, it's a 1/2 of the hour, and here's the new one from Rascal Flatts.
Somebody who has a pleasant voice, yeah.
Yeah. So I told them, I go, you have to give them what they can't get on the internet.
God bless you. I sat in so many meetings, and they would say, how are we going to compete with Spotify? I'm like, well, here's what Spotify doesn't have. Dave Mencarelli, who lives here in Reno, where these people are listening, and can say, hey, I was on Virginia Street at that particular Walmart. Spotify doesn't have that. Spotify has the same music we play.
Right.
So why the fuck would they listen to us unless we can give them some other content?
You give them the personality. You listen to me being funny.
And I live here, and I know I'm talking about what's going on here.
No, our research shows that people want more. Our research shows that people want more music. They're getting that off of fucking Spotify.
Yeah, where they don't have to hear a commercial for Mr. Bubbles Laundromat.
Yeah, and they don't have to hear the same 6 songs in a row. At one point, our station, if you heard the same song again, it was 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
The rotation, if you sat there and you heard the song
stations, again. Yep. I was on a station that was the Katy Perry and Britney Spears and that kind of stuff, right? An hour and 45 minutes was the minimum artist.
So that's even tighter than we were.
You could play the new Taylor Swift, and an hour and 45 minutes, play it again.
Yeah, so if you heard it again, get up, walk around so you don't get deep vein thrombosis.
I'm going to make a sweeper for my new radio station. Easy 104.1. No deep vein thrombosis here. I like that. But yeah,
but that's what I was trying to explain to them.
That's what radio can have Steve McGrew talking in that microphone.
Right. And the other thing
Spotify doesn't.
I told my bosses this, which they never, I go because I wanted to be big.
Yeah.
I wanted to be big. When you were winning awards, that's your chance to move up the ladder.
Sure. And nobody from that market, you're only steps away.
Yeah. And nobody's goal is to just, I want to be, like Roger Miller, Kansas City Star, that's what I are.
Yeah. No, listen, it wasn't my goal to be like, I'm going to be the #1 show in Reno, Nevada.
You would like to grow. You would
I like it now
to grow
where I'm at, but
because you're making a living and you understand
I love where I am.
That makes sense.
You got into it and you were in Denver and listen, you were in country radio, who has country music radio has passionate fans. Big time. Not just fans of the music. I did country radio. I filled in for about 3 months while one of the girls was on maternity leave. And I never had so much response to what I did than country radio.
They
Country
see
music fans.
Sure miss you on the radio.
You were still to this day. That was 8 years ago. To this day, I remember you from Cub Country.
Yeah, you were
because
so good.
they are passionate not just about the music, but the personalities on
Yeah.
the radio. And country radio is good for the artist.
Yeah.
still.
But so here's what I told him. I go, name every big radio show. Name every big one. Bob and Tom, a lot of talking. Howard Stern,
All talking.
all talking,
All talking.
All Howard Stern, talking. John Boy and Billy, talking. Opie and Anthony, talking.
Humia now dude by himself talking.
Talking. Every big
Hannity,
radio.
Beck, not just the conservative, Stephanie Miller, all Tom Hartman,
yeah.
talking, Elvis Duran, talking, Dr. Laura, talking.
Yeah. But even in the music, like we consider the top 40, those morning shows, then they turn to music.
And then
later.
you go to music, sure.
But you name the big shows. That's what I kept saying. I want this to be a big show. Well, that's not what we do. Well, why can't we?
Why
Why
not?
Why aren't we?
That's whatever. Well, we got to do what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
It's always been that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I hate that one.
It's kind of like Hollywood. Nobody, if you could come with an original script and they go, nobody's doing that.
Oh no, let's
somebody
remake,
did that.
Let's remake Flipper.
Yeah.
But
Then somebody will do one movie and like, we need a vampire movie.
Yeah.
We
need a Hangover. We need a Bridesmaids.
We need a chick movie. They don't want to take the chance of being original.
Yeah.
But
Original
they will take the chance on being the sequel.
A bland copy, yeah.
Just what we were talking about last night. We were talking about me, because I went to a couple of talent agencies in Reno. Talked to them,
I remember,
anything I can do, whatever. And they tell me, and I don't know if I ever told you, they tell me that I am too unique. and I'm like, isn't that
too
the
You're too
unique?
unique.
Your unique is too unique.
Your mustache and your cowboy look would be very limited.
I don't know where I could put you in.
Are you
anything.
kidding me?
No, I'm not making this up, dude.
That's why he's a walking he's a walking logo. If nothing else, they
here's
just
that
go, hi,
walking
welcome.
logo.
Walking, that's
Hi,
your new website.
Hi, welcome.
WalkingLogo.com. Yeah. We when we used to be Catch a Rising Star, where Laugh Factory is now, and when John was working, one of the guys that worked there with us came up with an idea for the picture, and I would always put his picture up front if he was working, no matter what spot he was doing in the show, and it was the frame was his face, and then the mustache would curl outside the frame.
Yeah.
And so people would see that all day walking through the casino, and it was and just having him stand at the podium taking tickets with us. When we worked the door together.
That's the guy.
Everybody wants to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So, too unique.
All right. Well, thanks for doing the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man.
appreciate it. This is the point in the podcast that I say, how do people find you?
So, I would love you to check out the radio station. Again, that's easy1041.com. I think you'll love the music if you like 60s, 70s, 80s. I'm on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. I'll just spell the last name.
I was going to say
Dave, and the last name is Mencarelli. Mencarelli. And
Mencarelli.
Stuff, yeah.
And JB, do you have? Are you on Twitter or
Twitter,
Instagram?
it's
Much easier.
Twitter, Instagram, and everything. It's under Johnny Reno. It's JOHNNYRNO, just like how the airports do it and everything. And then I'm on Facebook as JB Jr.
Yeah.
And just look for the mustache. So because I know there's a few JB Juniors out there now. I've actually been friended by a JB Jr., which is kind of odd. But just look for the one with the big curls.
Fuck that guy.
Big
He's
time
JB
curl.
the third.
Yeah, he ate you. He ate you. He ate you.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Hey, man, thank you so much for having us.
Oh,
This was
you're
wonderful.
welcome. Thanks for listening, guys. I appreciate it. I love it when you tune in. I love it when you share this podcast with everybody. And if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Give us a review on iTunes. Give it 5 stars. That helps us move up, and that's how people find us. In this world, we're not advertising. You're the best advertisement out there. So God bless America. Go listen to some Oak Ridge Boys. I bid you adieu.
In the basement of the mud flap house, flapping and poo, and they're under with the grains and news, and Pooh licks himself, and Flap contemplates manly things. He thinks about guns and trucks and Stooges 3, men and boys, and that doesn't sound right. He thinks about boobs and bacon and power tools. Come with me, let your masculate. Oh, won't you come with me and remasculate?
Aloha!